Kashmir, one of the most conflict prone areas of the world. But Kashmir has an identity that is more than that of a state fought over by two countries. Kashmir and its history are integral part of India and our history. It does not date back to a few hundred years, but thousands and perhaps more. Kashmir, the land of Ma Sharada, the Kashmir Pura Vasini, she who resides in Kashmir. The land of the unique philosophy of Shaivism, where Shakti is as important as Shiva himself. Kashmir's truth lies in its history and in the stories of its people. And I'm here to bring to you a slice of Kashmir in Namma, Bengaluru. I had the opportunity to visit the Kashmiri heritage restaurant Habba Kadal in Bangalore and had an interesting conversation with the owner. She is absolutely amazing. So, come, let's explore Kashmir in Bangalore. So Aparna owns this place and she's showing us around. So if you are a fan of Kashmiri culture, Kashmiri cuisines, you can come here and enjoy. And this place is in Whitefield. And yes, Aparna, please tell us more about
Namaskar, I am Aparna and you are at Habba Kadal, the Kashmiri Heritage Hub in Whitefield, Bangalore. So this is basically a labor of love, and it comes with a great deal of emotion. It comes with lots of respect. It comes from a place of devotion as a tribute to our ancestors, to our ancestry, to the highly refined culture that Kashmir has had, since time immemorial. Kashmir has been the seat of learning. It has been the seat of spiritual learning. It has been the seat of poetry, of literature, and of course all the fine arts and crafts you know about. It's also had this extremely unique tradition of cooking, quite different from that in the rest of the country or indeed the rest of the world. So the idea here is to keep alive all the little rituals that are intrinsic to our way of life, to keep alive our language, our music, to keep alive the rhythms and beats, of course, and then the aromas, the flavors, the spices and everything that we in our homes eat as everyday food.
Wonderful.
And the word cuisine is new to us. It used to just be our food, comfort food, and all of us, all people actually, all humanity has food as being, food is very central to one's connect with one's childhood.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
all our memories typically centered around events that are, either festivals or celebrations or birthdays and food.
Right.
Grandparents, grandfathers bringing us fruits that we loved, or,
Absolutely.
grandmothers making us, something special that we loved. So this is the same here as well. And it has a slightly different objective too. Given our very, very tiny population, we are not a very large community. It's also a fairly insular community, given that it's been in the Himalayas and the mountains.
Right.
So typically mountain communities tend to be quite insular.
Right.
So not many people are aware of either our way of life as it was, because now we are all cosmopolitan or global citizens.
True.
But in essentially, what is it that we as Kashmiris do to celebrate our, maybe our birthdays, our normal rituals? How do we do things perhaps slightly differently?
Right.
And what is it that in our way of doing things, the way of living is culture essentially, isn't it?
Right.
In what we pass on from generation to generation, what is it that we value, and we think is very precious and we don't want to lose it.
Right.
So all of that is what essentially is Habba Kadal,
This
in
is
trying
a
to keep that alive.
piece of Kashmir that you have got
Yeah,
here.
so Habba Kadal in Srinagar was a hub that people congregated in. It was known as that. People
Right.
met in there. That's where conversations happen, discussions happen on business, on politics, people getting married in the future, all of that happened. And so this has been actually we just started a few weeks ago. But it's been very humbling, it's been extremely moving and emotional because we have families, our communities coming from hours and hours of driving time. And we have some that are coming from 3 houses away, but they're being informed by their family in Canada or somewhere in Europe that you must go to Habba Kadal, it's in Bangalore, it's in your neighborhood. And then when they're here, we are playing instruments together, we are singing together, reciting together, and people are all
I should drop
connecting.
down to one such soiree.
Yeah, so everybody's connecting with each other, and that essentially was, and that is the intent, and it's organic. It's there's we are not as your brother mentioned as well, very small board. There's no advertising.
Right.
So being a restaurant and fine dining is part of it because hospitality is central to the Kashmiri culture and way of life. But it's over and above that. It's also the folk art and the music. It's also the Vedic knowledge that is being lost. So doing those talks, it's also the preservation of the script, which is Sharda.
Right.
It's
Right.
also that.
Yes.
So
yes.
it is, in totality, it is the preservation and passing on in a very joyous way, in a celebratory way, in a happy way. So that when kids come here, like your kids are here, they're running around, they see the celebration that was part of our culture, and that is something that we would like to keep center stage.
Right. Right.
So everything isn't all serious. It's also fun. So
Wonderful.
we wanted a place that was fun.
And can I ask you a not so fun question?
Sure.
No, not.
Sure.
I wouldn't call it not so fun, but it's a difficult question. How long it has been that you have been to your home in Kashmir?
Oh, a little over 34 years. It's
How
been
does
34
that
years.
feel?
No grief.
Do you remember your childhood or your
very,
days?
very. I mean, so clearly, and the older I get, the clearer it gets. So, grief, pain, disappointment, disillusionment, at times a sense of despondency, in hopes that in the 21st century, in a democratic country where we are progressing on every front, that somehow things would normalize enough, and we as a nation and the people would be able to create a more peaceful environment.
True.
And that has been a challenge. And then also you see the generation past, they have passed,
Right.
they're gone.
They're gone.
So we always go back to our roots for our people.
Right.
We go back for our grandparents, our grand-uncles, aunts. We go back for our families.
Right.
Now since they aren't there, your roots are not just the land and the mountains and the rivers. It's the people. It's the sounds of their,
Absolutely.
their laughter, their scolding us, their
Conversation.
ways, their conversations.
Right.
It's the aroma of food they cooked.
Right.
So all of that's what you return for.
Absolutely.
And but on the very personal but positive side, it's very. I think it's important to accept. It's important to take the best of what you can and move forward with it.
Absolutely.
Share it. So we are doing that here. You're here, and similarly, everybody here is not a Kashmiri. People come here from all over,
Right.
and they all enjoy it.
Right.
And so we see this is as Habba Kadal here in Bangalore, and that's wonderful. And may it always flourish, and may we all, in our own ways, all across the country and anywhere we are in the world, all communities, may we continue to
we
keep.
hope Shiva is going to bless
Yes.
all of this.
Yes.
And we
Yes.
are in the month of Savan, and
Yes,
let's
we are in-
pray to him.
Mahadeva will, yes. Yes, and again, you're here with your kids. So when families converge and meet, and your generation, the younger generation, the generation after ours, it creates a lot of positive energy. It also creates hope, and it makes it worthwhile. It sort of validates what we are doing.
True.
Because in your hands rests the future of our fabulous culture and civilization.
Thank you for putting that, sharing that. it's a lot. It's a big responsibility, and hope I am doing my bit in all this?
Yeah, you are. Let me share it with you here. See, this is, you asked how it started. So, these are our great grandmothers, our great grandmother, our great aunts. This is our family, and that's the address, which was
wonderful.
Banmala, Habba Kadal, Srinagar. That's actually the pin code of the place. So, if you look at these absolutely confident, wonderfully attired ladies, very unique culture.
Yes.
And look at the level of confidence, look at the attitude, look at the body language.
Smiling faces.
Totally directly at the camera. And this was,
Exactly.
decades ago.
Wow.
So we were always a very, very open, well-educated community. Education is that when you know how to connect with the world in the best way possible. That is education. And they represented it across generations.
Yes.
So the tribute is really to them.
Yes.
And all of these black and white photographs you see here, these are the people who have been here now. And these are pictures now of their homes and families. And they send them to me, then I get them and I frame them and start putting them up. They don't as yet have the titles. This is the Qasid house, also in Habba Kadal, quite a landmark in its own way. And similarly, the photos that you see around this place. So it has meaning to everybody who comes here, and people, amazingly, people find people they know, and they
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah,
That
and all
is
these
so
places
beautiful.
are just once inhabited, and in hopes that one day again, perhaps as we know it, Srinagar will be as we knew it then, or we all, as we are now, are within ourselves microcosms of our culture and our place.
Right.
We
right.
carry it in our hearts, with a lot of humility.
Humility,
Yeah, a lot of
yes.
humility. And of course, it's a very sacred part of our life.
Beautifully put.
So that's it. So
And
so
thank
happy
you
you're here.
for opening your culture, opening your hearts to all the rest of us who haven't been privy to Kashmiri culture, because it's high up in the mountains and we have so little coverage that seeps down to the rest of the country
true.
about not just the good things but also the plight of the people. So
Right.
yeah.
Thanks so much for visiting us. Thank you for taking the time and listening to our, the little bit about us.
The pleasure
As people.
is all mine. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you. And we'll come back again. We'll keep coming back. Hopefully
please
more
do.
people know about this and they also come and visit and enjoy.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks much.